Good evening, AY. Come on, man. You have lunch, right? Good evening, AY. Are you happy to be here today?
Yes.
All right. So before we go straight into our program, we're going to ask two persons from QBT to come and take up the offering for us. So we're going to sing the song, Give It With Love, Story to Above. Give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. God will bless you. Give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. Give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. Give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. If you know the song, sing with me. Give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. Give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. Won't you give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. Give it with love, story to above. Give it with a willing heart. Amen. So we're going to pray for the offering. Bow your heads and close. Please bow your heads and close your eyes. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the offering. Please bless us and the church. And please say that everybody makes it home safely. In Jesus' name I pray. Okay, good evening again, everyone. So my name is Kamisha. I'm the AY leader for VFWC. And this evening we have two beautiful programs for you youth and the children. Let me see all the hands of the persons who are 11 years old and under. Raise your hands. All right, so since you're 11 years and under, your program is going to be across the hall in a few minutes, all right? So those who are 12 and over, you're going to remain right here. All right, so let's go straight into our program. We're going to do the introduction of our presenter. There are two beautiful ladies that we have with us this evening. I'm going to start off with Sister Lisa Mitchell. She is best known as a Renaissance woman. She holds a degree in business management and finance and is a licensed massage therapist, esthetician, and manual lymphatic drainage specialist. I hope I'm calling those names correctly. Lisa is a mother of a 25-year-old, Naya, who was partially the inspiration of her company's name. She currently works at Stony Brook University as an assistant business manager. Lisa is also an entrepreneur and created a handcrafted bath and body product business in 2006 called Naya Simone. Then she later became a licensed massage therapist and esthetician, right? Yes, and created Naya Simone Spa. Naya Simone Spa is located in Garden City, New York, that is in Long Island. Lisa is also a neuropathetic doctoral student and has been working on creating a comprehensive beauty and wellness experience. Lisa is also the singles ministry leader for our community worship center and the single ministry coordinator for the Northeastern Conference. Say amen? Amen. Wonderful. And our next presenter is, give me a sec. Okay, so our next presenter is Maureen Kelman. She is a renowned international and local presenter at churches, retreats, and in the workplace. She has helped hundreds of individuals who felt stuck in life due to recognized and unrecognized trauma. To break free and live flourishing lives, she does it through our unique coaching system on the progress of forgiveness. Maureen believes that it is impossible to fully heal in mind, body, and spirit without the healing power of God. Amen. Prior to starting her company, the Total Person LLC, Maureen worked in the financial district as an actuary for 32 years. Maureen served her church, Linden Seventh-day Adventist Church, for over 18 years as the Health Ministries Director, served on the Health Advisory Team of the Northeastern Conference of Seventh-day Adventists for 12 years, and also served in youth ministry for many years. Maureen is married for over 30 years and has 2 adult children. Maureen Hellman and Lisa Mitchell at this time. Can we clap them, everyone?
Happy Sabbath, everybody. What I'd like is for people who are on the outside to come right in, because we're going to get deep into stuff. So we're going to be talking about a very sensitive topic, and this is a wide-age group, but we're going to, of course, be respectful, but talk the things then. For those who understand, I can make an accent. I know that some of you may have questions, and in order to keep things somewhat confidential, what we're going to ask is you write your questions down. Do not leave any identifying marks on it. In other words, don't put your name or somebody's name or on it. And towards the end of the program, we're going to collect them and we're going to read them. So it will be somewhat anonymous, which gives you a chance to feel a little more comfortable to ask whatever you have to ask. I'm not going to start first, so you can take this down. IT people, I'm not the first one. So Lisa is going to start first, and then I'm going to come afterwards. And we're going to try to keep things within a reasonable time, because I know that Alberta told me there's some social tonight. So we're going to keep things, we do not want it to run away. We want it to learn, because this topic is a very deep topic. So Lisa, you want to come up and start?
Can you hear me? Okay, that's a good one. Hi, everyone. So when I recently got this invitation to join Maureen to talk about this topic, I got a little nervous because first of all, it's the age group 12 to 35 is what I was told, and up, and that it's going to be streamed. That makes me nervous. Because I think what I would say to a closed group would be a little bit different than what I would say knowing that it's going to be on the internet and that everyone can look at what I'm going to tell you. But hopefully the information that I share today will be of benefit to everyone that's listening. So I first want to start out with a Bible text. When we're young, like 12, we don't really know ourselves. There's some adults that don't even know themselves as an adult, right? But as a 12-year-old, I don't think it's enough to say, don't have sex. I think that it's important to, and some people may say, do 12-year-olds have sex? The answer is yes. They could, right? They have sleepovers, they have, they hang out with their friends when the parents are not around always. Say it again? Exactly. You hit puberty, your emotions are all over the place, your hormones are all over the place. So I think that this is a good thing that you all are having here, that you're creating a safe space to talk about these sensitive topics. I think it's important when we're young to use our minds and ask God to help us to understand and to learn. Sometimes when you're young, the younger generation, which I don't feel that I'm too far from, I'm forever young. I feel as though we don't always listen at the younger ages, right? We think we know everything. And we get our information from the television, we get our information from our friends, those are the subject matter experts in relationships and dating, YouTube, university, right? But the most valuable and reliable source that I've learned as I grow older is the source of the Bible. And the spirit of prophecy is one of the foundational truths that doesn't waver, and it's a guardrail to help us to have healthy relationships and to help us to prevent us from having scars in our lives, emotional scars. So, what is dating? What is dating? Can anyone tell me what dating is? My presentation's a little bit more interactive, sorry.
I would say dating is two consenting individuals that are curious about each other, their behavior, their characteristics, likes and dislikes, or, just to explore each other.
Okay. Being that it's streamed, I don't know if whoever's listening online would hear what you said, but two consenting adults who want to get to know each other is basically what the sister said. Okay? So dating is like collecting information, right? From the Christian perspective, what does the world say dating is? Does anyone can give me some examples of what does the world say dating is? Sleeping with each other. Dating. When you're dating in the secular world, I've had a man tell me that he was interested in me. He wanted to get to know me, and when he realized that I wasn't going to go that far, he was like, okay, well, good luck with that. And that was the end of that conversation. But how should I feel after that? Good, because were you really into me? No. So when you're dating someone, I think that it's important to get to an age of a certain level of maturity. At 12 years old, you're really not missing out on anything. You could like someone. I remember liking someone as early as in 3rd grade. I mean, that's real, right? You can always like someone and be attracted to someone. But in terms of wanting to be in a relationship, I don't think our minds are formed properly to be in a healthy relationship at that young of an age. But it's good to talk about it with our younger generation, to have the conversation and to let them know what the expectation is and what to look for when you are at that age. So when you're 35, so the expectations when you're 35, that's completely different than when you're much younger. So when you're 35, sometimes you're thinking like your clock is ticking, you want to find someone because you want to have some babies. 35, I think that, you should be more mature. You're learning different levels of communication. I wanted to go over that with you all as well. Give me 1 second, I'm so sorry. So there's different levels of intimacy, right? So the first level of intimacy is what you can have when you're at a younger age. You can have, it's called, who said no? Oh, okay, sorry. So recreational intimacy. Recreational intimacy involves sharing leisure activities and hobbies with another person. It involves enjoying common interests, engaging in sports, outdoor activities, having fun together. And that's something that you could do in groups. right? Recreational intimacy. So we're talking about different levels of intimacy. There's social intimacy, which involves sharing social experiences, connections with one another, includes spending time together with friends and family, participating in social activities. That's something casual that you can do as well with your friends or someone of interest. There's spiritual intimacy, involves spiritual beliefs, values, experiences with one another. Intellectual intimacy involves sharing ideas, interests, intellectual pursuits. Emotional intimacy, that's when you're sharing your feelings, your thoughts, your fears, your vulnerabilities. Do you think that's something that you just share with a casual friend, your emotional intimacy? No. And then there's physical intimacy, which is the topic what we're talking about today. So that involves closeness through physical touch, such as holding hands, hugging, kissing, sexual activity. Physical intimacy can be deep emotional bonds and strengthen the connection between two people. So when you start out with intimacy, being that there's different types of intimacy, you can have, when you're younger, all of the other ones, spiritual, social, recreational, maybe intellectual, but as you see that you're building from one stage to the next. It doesn't just start out as sexual intimacy, whether you're 12 or whether you're 35 years old. Some people, you should stop, the relation should stop at a recreational or social intimacy or spiritual intimacy. Maybe you just see them on Sabbaths and you go home and that's it. Not everyone should get to the level of emotional intimacy or physical intimacy. Those are spaces that you want to reserve for certain special people. One person, preferably. Who you're married to, yes. The world talks about dating in a casual sense, as we said. You're having sex. It tells you casual dating, often seen as recreational, focused on companionship, fun, personal fulfillment without necessarily seeking long-term commitment or marriage. So the world's sense of dating is that you're just going out, you're getting to know someone, you're sleeping with them. The goal is not marriage. But as a single Christian, Seventh-day Adventist, we believe in dating with intention. You don't just date someone to date them for a very long time, right? You date them to have a commitment. Yes. Yes.
Would you clarify that? Because I think sometimes we date with the intention of being serious and date the wrong person.
Right.
The wrong person. So should we date more than one person? Like see, with the Lord lead us, I pray about that. Instead of dating one person, maybe that person must be the right person.
That's a good question. So when you're dating someone, I mentioned this at a previous church, and it was a battle going back and forth, back and forth. I believe it's okay as a Christian to date multiple people.
Yes.
Is that okay? I feel a lot of times when yes? Okay. It's okay to date more than one person. Now, it could get tricky if you're dating more than one person in the same church.
But at the same time,
Well, that could be problematic, right? That's a whole nother conversation, but
I mean, these three guys may invite me out, to go to the park. One might walk with me from school, and one, we sing together and so forth. But, so I'm looking at the three guys and see which one is suitable for me. And you're talking casual thing, nothing intimate.
No intimacy, right. So when you're dating is just, let me just be clear, dating is just collecting information. You're getting to know the person, you're understanding their likes and dislikes, and
And there's no commitment.
And there is no commitment. Now, when you see someone that you're not feeling up, kissing up, doing all kinds of stuff with each of these three people, hopefully not. But when you have boundaries in dating, I think a lot of times women, we have a lot to lose more so than men. So we have to have boundaries when we're dating. It's okay to say no to sexual intimacy in relationship. It's okay to say no, keep your hands to yourself. It's okay to say no and to be respected for that. I think that when you're dating, especially when you're young, it's learning how to navigate healthy relationship is a work of art. You could spend a lot of time in the wrong relationship and waste your childbearing years with someone that has no good intentions for you. So as women, it's very important for us to date and to move it along if you see that this person is not a good catch, a good candidate, or if they're playing games. How long, let me ask you a question. How long do you think it would take to figure out, men, if this person is a catch for you? How long? Men. Can I ask the men only? How long do you think it takes for you to figure out if someone's is a good catch for you? Somebody said, I'm hearing women, not men.
I would say 2 months because men look at things different.
Okay. So 2 months. 2 months is enough time. Okay. Anyone else?
Maybe depending on the age, I would say, okay, he said 2 months, but that's not for everyone. If you're a mature person, and
if you're older and mature, and you've been around the block, you've dated a couple of people, you know what you like and dislike, your decision-making process is a little quicker.
Yeah.
Right? But when you're younger, say in your teens and 20s, take your time. There's no rush. There's no rush. A lot of times you rush into relationships and to marriage, and the same people, like right now, I don't want to tell you my age. I mean, normally I don't care, but I'm not going to tell you all. But say it again. How old do you think I am? Yeah, right. Y'all are trying to butter me up. So I'm in my 40s, right? Mid to upper 46. And thank you. God bless you all. When I was in my 20s, I made some decisions, or teenage years. The reason why this program is so important to me, because it is my life. It is my life. When I was young, I was living in a way that wasn't according to the Bible. And as I got older, I'm realizing that it doesn't hurt to wait. It doesn't hurt. When you're younger, you spend time with people, you're looking at them, that you may say, oh, they look handsome, or You know, you're looking at them from a different lens. When you're in a certain age, you're looking at for different reasons. You want to make sure now at my age, at this time, I don't feel old, I said, but you're looking at a person's, not just, yes, a handsome man is what I desire, yes. But, you know, you have to make sure you have stability, that you're honest, that I can trust you, that I feel safe with you, you have good health, that you care about working out. There's a different, what? Say what? Okay, so I'm being told that the young people are on their phones and they're not listening. Is that true? Is that true, young people? That's not happening, right? So that's the whole thing. So can I get a young person to tell me one thing that they heard that I just said? A point that they heard that that I just said. Any young person?
They're listening, so find somebody else.
Where? Go ahead. That means that you're not listening. Go ahead.
Dating is, well, you said that dating was getting to know someone, but as in the regular world, instead of being in church, people want to get to know somebody and want to make it be sexually active with that person for other reasons. There's a difference between church meetings and almost hockey.
Yes. Okay. Okay, that's good. So what is the dangers of, name some dangers, young people, of what are some dangers of dating? Dating, like the world.
Pregnant,
Children, young people.
unwanted pregnancy.
You're not young.
Yes.
Younger people.
Diseases. Diseases, sorry. Not saying what someone else just said. Yes. You could be, so, you said mentally ill. That's a big one. That's a whole program. When you're dating someone, sometimes there's people who have lost their minds psychologically because of a relationship going bad. When you don't love yourself, when you don't receive the love at home, sometimes you look for love in the wrong places and you become promiscuous. Yes.
Okay. I know you said it earlier in your 20s that there are decisions that we make. I'm sorry, I was eating and I missed my clothes.
I'm not looking.
No, the camera.
Oh, okay.
So, we make decisions that are not right. What I realized is because my second daughter is 23.
Yeah.
And the decisions that she's making, she's so aware of her surrounding that at that age, I already had one child. So they are more, educated about things happening and their surroundings and the friends that they keep. So it also boils down to the type of friends that you have and your mental stability that can also steer you in the wrong way or the right way. So she's 23 and she's dating.
Okay.
And she is dating and she's like, okay, mom. So she dated in the Christian, at the wood, and then she's like, mom, this is not what I'm looking for. So she already know what she is looking for at the age of 33. And like I was dating, I wasn't looking for that. As you said, we're looking for love in the wrong places because when parents don't tell you that they love you or they don't support you in certain things, you tend to look for it on the outside.
Yes.
So it is important as parents that we love our children, we tell them that tell them that they're beautiful, tell them that they're sexy. And we tell my kids, you are sexy, you're beautiful, you're intelligent. You have everything that a good man would want, but you have to know what you want and not to settle for less. Always put God first in the decision that you're making, and always always pray for that one thing that you desire without anyone knowing. And when God sends you that person, that desire that you pray to him and him only for, you will see it and you will know that's the person for you.
Amen. That's good. Hello? Did I press something? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Did I press something? Thank you. That's a very, very good point. So we have to tell our young people and our children that we love them and encourage them, because you don't want the world to you don't want the first time they hear "I love you" and "you're beautiful" to be someone on the outside who's trying to take advantage of them. Can you stand up, please, so we can hear you?
You're not prepared?
Pregnancy?
Yeah, if you're not prepared,
Yes.
it can end up bad for you, and I guess your financial state and your mental state, it can end up bad for the child, leading to broken homes, and a bad mental state for them as well.
Yes. Pregnancy, and there's so many different scenarios. You're young, you can't take care of the child, and it's hard. So anyone else? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna wrap my seven. Do you have some? Go ahead.
Also lead to poverty.
Lead to what? Poverty. Poverty. Yes. Yes.
You can't be able to take care of yourself.
You can't take care of yourself. You have to take care of other people. And some people, it's like sex is like an addiction. It's like a drug. When you don't have control. And one other thing I want to say before I sit down is that if you don't know how to being sexually active, and it's also about self-control. And if you don't know how to control your sexual desires when you're at any stage in your life as a single person, it could create more problems. I didn't get into other topics like different things, but that's also a sexual sin as well. That's a sin against your own body.
Also, as well, in addition to what you're saying, when you're not able to control yourself when it comes on to, sex. Also, when you do meet that person and maybe you're married and you're committed to them, you won't be able to stick to be committed to just one person.
Right.
You'll be sleeping with multiple people on your husband or your wife. So it's really something that you have to take control of. Otherwise, it can be out of control and become out of control, and you can't keep your commitment to whatever that special person is if you should get married.
Exactly. You can't control yourself as a single person. It's going to be very hard for you to control yourself as a married adult. All right. Hope you got something from the presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Sister Maureen. Thank you.
So, thank you, Lisa, for opening up. My part of the presentation is a little bit more intense, and at first I was wondering, what should I say? And because of the wide age group from 12 and up, and the Lord put it into my mind what to say. I know that in the church, and the verse that Lisa started out with is,
1 Corinthians, that your body is a temple.
do you know that your body is a temple? And we also like to use a verse, think on these things, whatever things are pure, honest, all that stuff. Think on these things. But let me ask you a question. What happens, how do you start, this is what I'm going to say, that when you're dealing with an individual who is already broken, especially not by their choice, then we're going to have to start somewhere else. Okay? So I entitled my part, Sex and Dating When Broken. So this is going to be a little bit more intense, but I think appropriate. Of course, the information I'm providing is for educational and informational purposes only. and does not constitute providing medical advice or professional services. I want to start off by giving you two stories. One is from a person who is now 17, and the other person I'm going to talk about is a Bible character. As a matter of fact, let me start with the Bible character first. How much do you know about Mary Magdalene? What do you know about her?
Jesus is your mother.
She's what?
Jesus is your mother. No, I'm saying Jesus is your mother.
Jesus was her mother? No. Not that Mary. The other Mary.
She was a prostitute.
She was a prostitute. What else do you know about her? She washed her hair with Jesus' feet.
She was addicted to sex.
I didn't hear her. She was caught in adultery.
Multiple partners.
She had multiple partners.
She was a sex addict.
She was a sex addict. Now, let me tell you something that you may not know about her. And what I'm going to tell you was found in a very small book that Sister White wrote called Daughters of God, Appendix A. You can look it up, Daughters of God, Appendix A. Do you remember the Pharisee Simon? Do you remember him?
Yes.
He was her uncle, all right? He was the one who raped her when she was a child. Okay? And led her into a life of prostitution. So, is Mary the type of young girl who would want me to say to her, okay, your body's a temple of the Holy Ghost, think on these things? Would we have to start with her? No, I would start somewhere else. Okay? So, again, the reference, Daughters of God, Appendix A, it will tell you, that's what Ellen White wrote, of what Simon did to Mary. Now, I have another example of a young lady who, when I first heard her story, she was 13, but what was happening to her happened since she was 8. So that is why I thought sharing this story with people who are 12 and above, you are already old. And so I was at work, and some people probably are confused about what I do because I wear so many hats. But I was at work, and one of my coworkers ran to my office, and he was so mad. He was like, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. So of course, my ears pick up immediately. And to make a long story short, it turned out that the police were on the hunt for his brother-in-law. Why? Because his brother-in-law's, his sister, okay, so this is what it is. His sister was married to this man, okay? His sister had a granddaughter, the 8-year-old. So this man was not biologically related to their granddaughter, but he was married to her grandmother, you get me? It turned out that at age 13, she had enough courage to go to her school guidance counselor to tell her guidance counselor what was happening. So the guidance counselor said to her, whenever it happens again, come and let me know, I'll take you to the hospital to get that checked, which is what she did, okay? And proved that this man was messing around with her since she was 8. And the kicker that almost made me fall out of my chair at work is when my friend said to me, and Maureen, he's a Seventh-day Adventist elder. This was happening right here in the Seventh-day Adventist church. So, can you imagine if this young girl come to church every Sabbath? Imagine this young girl coming to church every Sabbath, and yet the person on the pulpit who is telling her to keep, think on these things, is the one who will be doing stuff differently at home. You get me? Would you believe she's now 17? She has left the church. She has been living a life like Mary. And I just pray to God that when you see her outside, instead of criticizing her, you may pray for her, you may work with her, you may invite her back in the fold. Yes. So this is the part that most of us do not talk about. The thing is, I want you to look at this screen. Can you see this picture? Oh, it's so small, sorry. Well, I just read what's on it. So this young girl, this little girl right here, she comes to her aunt and she said, Auntie, Uncle comes to my room every night to do bad manners, all right? And this is what the aunt said. She said, shh, shh, quiet girl. Don't ever say that again. He may go to jail and we may suffer. In the meantime, uncle will be looking around the wall saying, oh, this is good, which means I am safe to continue with no pressure. Now, who wronged this girl? The aunt?
She's enabling.
Both. Both the aunt and the man wronged this girl. In the story that I told you just now about a young girl who is now 17, it turned out that her grandmother knew what was happening. But because of economic stability, she chose her husband over her granddaughter. You get me? So, and that is why, there are times when, I'm so happy that we're having this discussion, but there are many of us who, we do not choose this life. You get me? The life of being promiscuous too soon is not something that we would have chosen if we were starting from a healthy place. And I'm going to go I'm going to go into one big issue that some of us have. Just want to talk about it briefly. It's called abandonment issues. So what are abandonment issues? It can be described as emotional distress that stem from experiences of being abandoned, rejected, or neglected, particularly during childhood or significant relationships. Now, here are some contributing factors to abandonment issues: childhood trauma, witnessing domestic violence, death of a loved one, poverty and economic instability. I've worked with so many people who experienced 3 or 4 of these points. You get me? I'm just going to focus a little bit on childhood trauma, since we're dealing with people 12 and up. It's one of the most common causes of abandonment issues. It may include physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. It can also include neglect. If a child doesn't feel loved or supported by their parents, they may develop abandonment issues. If parents are emotionally unavailable or abusive, the child may develop abandonment issues. A lot of us come from broken homes. A lot of us. And there are a lot of us adults here who if I were to, I'm not going to tell anybody to raise their hands. We're going to protect people's privacy in this place. We want this to be a safe place. But I can tell you, for both boys and girls, there are many of us, even as adults, who we still have not dealt with that broken child. And if we have not dealt with that broken child, then we are not well enough to deal with our own children.
That's true.
We're not. So there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. Now, this is what abandonment may look like. I wish I could make this bigger. But for women, for most women who are going through abandonment issues, they are very quick to attach, especially the people who are not available to them. They're the ones who want the married man, or the one who is in a committed relationship. Very quick to attach. Why? Because they're trying to fill that gaping hole that they have been living with for a long time. Everybody needs love. Everybody's looking for love. Unfortunately, some in the wrong places based on what happened to them. For a lot of men going through abandonment issues, they may have an intense feeling of separation anxiety, or they may be reluctant to commit. Can you imagine dating somebody for a long time, and no matter what you do, you think that you're the issue, when he may be dealing with his own issue? You get me? He doesn't want to commit because he's so accustomed to people leaving him. Now, let me give you just a few examples of when I say people leave you. It can be as simple as, because most of us in this room are probably from migrant communities. Can you imagine if your parents leave you back home to move to the United States to form a better life? As far as you're concerned, your parents left you.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
You're not thinking when you're a kid that your parents left you to have a better life. And God forbid if who they left you with, make you suffer through all manners of abuse. It's even worse. And this pain does not just go away because you got older. A lot of us are still walking around as men and women, because trust me, I know we tend to focus a lot on little girls, but boys get abused too. So there's a lot of men who are walking around with a lot of wounds even now. So people, both male and female, may have difficulties achieving emotional intimacy. They may feel insecure and unworthy of love. They may be very sensitive to criticism. They like to aim to please. And all of these are the things that happen when you're in a relationship. What Lisa was talking about, all the brokenness and the continued brokenness. Why? Because we need to be healed. So that is why we have to know when we're reaching out to anyone, find out what happened. Parents, let me talk to you parents. Because a lot of times parents want somebody to teach their kids. This is what the statistic says. 38% of teens report that parents are their biggest influence on their decision about sex, while only 22% say their biggest influence is your friends. 87% of teens say it would be easier to delay sex and avoid pregnancy if they could have some open conversation about it with their parents. So parents, you have a strong responsibility. And as I said, you talk about cycles of brokenness. If you as a parent is broken and didn't deal with your business, what exactly are you going to talk to your kid about? You can't fix it. So parents, a lot of times, and I'm so happy, my sister, when you talk about the relationship with your daughter, because that's where it starts. It's not the school, it's not their peers, it's not the church, it's you. They're looking to you as their source. And parents, if you openly, I want you to comment, as a matter of fact, because I really like where you're going with with the choices you made, that your daughter is making some choices right now. Even though you said you already had a child when you were her age, but you made some choices that caused her not to make those choices. You get me? My mother had my sister's right here. My sister is here, but I'm going to tell this story. By the way, is this to be streamed?
Yes.
But in that case, I will fix the edges. But my mother was a teenage mother. I'm a product of a teenage mother. Thank God she got married to our father, and they're still married after 50 odd years. But I remember though, when I was younger, talk about sex education, this is what my mother said to me. If you ever come in here with pregnancy, out. That was it. That was a little education I got. Parents, don't do that. Don't do that. Thank God I had things to occupy my life, that I had my first child when I was 25, after degrees and husband and all that stuff, but that's not the way to talk to kids. And that sister had her hand up first.
Okay. Based on what you're saying, some of us are coming from broken homes, or the family that doesn't speak to us about sex. Because I could say that sex education for me, I would say, learned from my friends in high school. But I started having, say, a boyfriend at 19. And at 19, just started dating was not good for my mother either. So and we did not have that open conversation where we talk about anything. The only thing I know about sex as far as growing up was my grandmother telling me, make sure you don't come in here with no pregnancy.
Yes, that's
so
all.
Nothing else. But as time goes by, and we can break that chain. And breaking that chain came from having my first daughter at the age of 21. And being through what I've went through, I was able to talk to my daughters at a very young age and being open to them, and the fact that, being a Christian, I'm telling you, as a Christian, I've also experienced negative things in the church. Yeah. However, my relationship with God was more important. So that is what I would tell them. They may make the right decision, they may not make the right decision. Some do, one does, one didn't, but at the same time, they still end up in doing what I want them, as far as a mother would want them to do. However, as you're saying that we, as parents, even though broken, can definitely make that turnaround, not just for ourselves, but for our children by seeking help. And as many Caribbeans, we don't like to seek help because we think that it is not good. But at the same time, getting that stability and being in the mental health field too, it has helped me a lot to be able to speak to my children about things that is not right. And if they make the wrong decision, do not go and tell anybody, come to me. That is the ultimate thing. Come to me so I can protect you as my child.
You know, you just basically said everything I'm going to say next. Did you want to say something, my sister? Did you want to say anything? No.
Yes.
Deaconess with a yellow scarf.
Oh, did you want to say
Yeah.
something? Oh, you have a cup? Oh.
You have said and shared some of what I was going to say, so that was too short. Growing up in those days, a lot of our parents, they did not know better. They did not have the right information to pass on to us. And they did their best, you know, they, as much as possible. I remember as a little girl in primary school, my grandmother said to me, don't let any boy touch you, because if they touch you, you will get pregnant. I was in school one day, and I had this reading book, and there was a little boy sitting next to me. And he didn't have any reading book, but I wanted to share with him. And what I did, I just gave him the book, because grandmother said, don't let him read it. You understand? So, I mean, they want to tell you or to explain to you what they did not have the know-how, or it could be that they are embarrassed, you know, because you're a little child, and for them to explain certain things to you in a way that they were not properly informed as how to pass them the information. You know, so many of us suffered from that because we didn't know what to do, and when we go and we are among our peers, whatever they say, that's what we put in practice. You know, because that is what we know. And especially if you are getting the love that you are seeking it somewhere, you are going to like gravitate to the things that you hear and what you see your friends, your peers are doing.
Correct. And you know, in this day and age, as I said, as a church, it is so, as a matter of fact, let me just get the next slide, because it basically addresses what I'm going to say. We have to address the issues. We have to. We definitely have to foster an environment. We have to foster an environment where our teens feel very safe to talk to you about what happened to them, and we absolutely need to provide an environment that promotes compassion and healing. We have to. So it's not only our teens, just hear me out on this one. Based on my experience, it is not only our teens, or 12-year-olds, or 8-year-olds in my youngest case. It's not only our teens who need an environment of compassion and healing, who need the environment of we're not looking at them with blame and with contempt, but really understanding that they might have been doing things because it was never their choice in the first place. Okay? So, and of course, I'm happy when my sister in the back mentioned professional help. A lot of us, both children and adults, need some proper professional care. We need healing. And do not think for a moment that because you're a Christian, that you can just pray certain things away. Right. A lot of us need proper tools. There's nothing wrong with getting proper tools, proper direction on how to heal the hurt. How to heal the hurt. Because trust me, this is what I can say. I know that a lot of people who are single desire to be married. To me, that's a wonderful desire. But if you ever, I'm very, very married. As a matter of fact, this week is my anniversary. Thursday. I've been married for 31 years. And I thank God about that. But let me just mention this though. Did I have 31 years of roses? The answer is no. And a lot of it had to do with unresolved traumas. You get me? Which I definitely had to deal with. And that's why I'm married now 31 years. And I'm happy in my marriage. So let me just say that. But it took some work. Because if you are already broken and you get into a marriage, guess what? You're still broken.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're going to bring everybody else in
Yeah,
here.
that's true.
Your husband and kid.
Very true.
So regardless of what level of age you are, or singleness you are, how young you are, you need to heal it. Get help. Somebody, hand? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, my name is. I have 3 sons. They grew up in this church. This is the only thing they know. I've been to school. They usually complain to me about certain things, like if they're 14, 16, that in those ages, they'd like a young lady and they'd like to make friends with them. And these mothers, they always say, Mommy, the mother just look at me and say, leave me daughter alone. So you know what those boys did? They ended up finding women in the world because of the same mothers in this church. They just, and then later on, when these girls go out and they can't find a husband, they start looking at my sons. And you know, I don't know what to say. The mothers are overprotective of the daughters who are teenagers. Sometimes, as you say, they go on group dates or whatever, but everybody is afraid of the pregnancy. And sad to say, some of these same girls, they're out to be because the mothers, people won't talk the truth. They turn out to be because they can't find a man. They don't want to disappoint their parents in the church. Stuff like that. But it's very, yeah. And I've been, as I just think you might tell you, I've married 44 years.
Yes. Well, talk, yes.
But, yeah, these same mothers come around and push the young men. They might see their daughter and lights there. Not that they're going to have sex or anything, but just to, socialize. There are different aspects of dating or socializing. And they're so bombarded. The young guys, they're afraid to talk to the girls in the church. So they go out and find somebody out there. And then poor mothers like us get upset. No matter what you say to them. Because of the same church people.
I know that. So I'm not going to address what you're saying directly. I'm just going to take that as your statement. And I believe you. So let me give you a little comic break. As I said, I'm a grown woman. I have 2 sons, and they're young adults, and I'm grown. But sometimes people think I'm younger than I am. And I worked with the basketball league for years, and so of course I always have these little young boys around. Why? Because I was their commissioner. So anyway, I went to pick up a young man from his home one day with my son. This was my son's friend, and I needed that young man to work for us that night. His mother questioned me as if I was a date. I just said to her, ma'am, I am the commissioner of the league. What are you doing with my son? Blah, 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 blah. She went off on me. Eventually she realized who I really was, because I was dressed in jeans and all, and I guess I look a little younger. She probably thought I was some young girl looking at her son. I said, your son is the same age as my son,
Right.
I could be his mother, But she went off on me. But, so I hear what you're saying. But it speaks again to the level of brokenness that many of us have from parents. Some of you better be honest. You're broken, and it just pass it down. Broken. Yes, and it's both men and women. Yeah.
We speak a lot about unequally yoked, but you can be married to a Seventh-day Adventist, and we speak a lot about being unequally yoked and, dating in the world and all of that, but you could be married to a Seventh-day Adventist and you're unequally yoked. I'm speaking from experience. So being Seventh-day Adventist doesn't mean that you're not unequally yoked. I've experienced it, okay? Real life. That's not necessarily true, and I think we have that misconception. Seventh-day Adventist, but it takes for you to actually be in a marriage the way the Bible describes. You could be married in the church and you're unequally yoked with that person who's very much participating in the church and plays a very big role.
Yes.
But they're not committed to Christ. They don't have that relationship. So a lot of times we're telling our kids, Seventh-day Adventist, make sure you somebody that actually has a relationship, because Seventh-day Adventist doesn't guarantee you that you're going to have a marriage the way the Bible describes it, or the way the Bible wants that, the way it's supposed to be. So let's just make sure we clarify that.
You know what, as I said, this topic is so wide, we could be here like forever, but there are many different, you realize that there's so many different aspects that we're touching on. We haven't even gone deep as yet. My brother, do you have a mic for my brother?
No, I was listening to the point that she was making.
Wait, one minute, my brother.
The concept of unequally yoked, all right, has to do with your relationship with God.
Yes.
All right, but people might have a good relationship with God, but the word that I think she's looking for is the word incompatible. They may be incompatible.
Both.
Because they have different interests, but not unequally yoked. You could be equally yoked, but still incompatible. You understand me?
I hear what you're saying, but
because
I don't want to go into semantics really, but you know, I don't want to go into semantics, but
unequally yoked is a word that was borrowed from business deals and brought into the marriage. In other words, you cannot do business with somebody and they don't have the same values. All right? For example, you're a Christian, you believe in honesty, and you're doing business with somebody who's not a Christian, that believe in dishonesty. And so your agreement would not stick because you believe in holding on to principle, the person doesn't. So you can't have a proper deal. So in that case, it's unequally yoked. That's what it's talking about. So to be equally yoked, you have to be doing business with somebody who is a Christian, who have the same values. But the problem with marriage is not about being unequally yoked and in the church. It's about being incompatible. Because before you get married, you must have the same values, the same value system as the person to whom you're getting married. You have to work out your likes and dislikes and things that you can work together on. If you can't agree and work together on the same things with somebody, it's no use to get married. I know you meant, that's what you meant when you use the word unequally yoked, but it's not unequally yoked, it's just being incompatible. So in the church,
so this is what I'm going to say though.
You have to find somebody that you're compatible with.
All right, so let me why don't I, before this goes let me kind of pull it back in. Let's pull it back in. But this is what I'm going to say though. Just using the term, as a matter of fact, I'm going to use a parable in the Bible to explain what I'm going to say next. So you've heard about the parables of the 10 virgins, right? Okay. So how many of them fell asleep? All 10, right? When it was time to show out their spirit, whether they had the Holy Spirit or not, how many of them had it? Only 5. The bottom line is, let me try to make it 2024 version, okay? You have these 10 people who all sing in a choir, who are all vegan vegetarian, who all Seventh-day Adventist Christians. But when you take a little light to see how many of them actually know God, only half of them did. Why I'm saying that is just being Seventh-day Adventists, just being vegetarians, just, drinking water and minding your business does not, see, I put it in there, right? It does not guarantee that you have the same level of your experience with God. It doesn't guarantee that.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
So, so for a person who may be looking for somebody who have a better relationship with God, then you may want to look at that characteristics and not anything else.
That's true.
So that's what I'm going to say with that.
Yeah,
but so, of course, I always like to leave Bible verses, and what I'd like you to do as much as you can, because we won't have time to read all these, but I need you to take a picture of the screen, just take a photo of the screen because this is your homework assignment. Whenever you feel a little bit discouraged, whenever you feel as if God has not forgiven you, whenever you feel as if you are out of the bounds of healing, I want to remind you that God is in the healing business. He is. So regardless of what your life experience is, God is in the healing business. What these verses talk about is He will throw your sin in the bottom of the sea. That's in Micah. In Isaiah 38, He will throw your sin behind His back. Won't even see it anymore. And just to give you a little bit about geography, for you to have like a descriptive thing in your head, the deepest part of the ocean, the sea, is deeper than Mount Everest. Okay? So, if God said He's going to throw your sin in the bottom of the sea, you know that no life is going to be there, right? Which means neither you nor your next door neighbor who want to talk on you and badmouth you can dive down there. Let them dive down there and let them die. Yeah, let them try, it will kill them. So, so that's the visual I want to keep in your mind at all times. When God said He will make sure their sin is as far as the east is from the west, we don't even know how far the east is from the west, But you have to get to a place where you know that healing is possible. Why? Because God guaranteed it. Yeah. And these are some of the verses that I need you to read every night whenever you're at the place of brokenness. Just remind yourself that God is in the healing business. So this is where we stop tonight, and I thank you so much for inviting us and listening to us. Yeah. I realize that we may need to have a workshop. So Miss Maxine, you may have to design a workshop. Yeah, you. Aren't you the couples ministry or something? Or marriage ministry?
Just put me on the spot, yeah.
Yeah? So the people need to hear the things.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So that's what we're going to have to do next. But thank you so much for having us, and I guess I'll turn this over to who? Oh, are there any questions? Oh, you have a question? Oh, I'm done. So I'm going to turn it over to this young lady. Thank you.
We now have a prayer by Michael Brown. Closing prayer.
Please stand for the prayer. Dear Father, I thank you for today. Thank you for bringing us here safely. Help us to learn something that is important from this one day. Help us to learn not everything and everyone's compatible for